Hey everybody, we have reached 1,000 subscribers and want to kind of talk about like where this YouTube channel started and what it's become. Just talk a little bit about the journey. So first I'm just going to talk a little bit about my childhood, some of the years that I spent working before I set out on the van life, and why I chose that. It's interesting also because I had a really good job. I was making a lot of money per week, but I was putting in a lot of hours. Anyway, I'm in my early 30s. I was born in the Midwest in a small town. My mother was a practical gender equality body nudist. She was free the nipples. She also grew marijuana when it was highly illegal, so she was put in prison. I was taken from her. I was put into, I had two uncles. One was a traveling Chippendale, which is a male stripper. If anyone's ever seen Magic Mike, that's what he did. He now owns his own gym in Georgia with his wife. They're both in great shape. My other uncle was a little bit of had a little bit of well, I won't get into that, but he was a traveling wrestler. For casinos. He also did small time commercials and stuff like that. Okay, so government said that they weren't able to adopt me. This is the story that I get from the government. For all I know, that's not even my real family. Who knows? But that's what I was told. That's who I met. I went, met my uncles, met my half sister, who's half Italian. Anyway, I was put into a foster home after I was taken away from my mother, the family that was not in my direct bloodline, and military family, also student counseling family. They adopted 4 kids. 3 of us ran away. It was they should not have been parents. They received financial funding from the government, so it kind of felt like they weren't adopting kids for the right reason. If so, they were terrible at it. But anyway, ran away, started running away from home when I was 10, was put into an institution. In those institutions, I went through a lot of trauma. I was beat, raped, and drugged on over 20 plus different pharmaceutical drugs from big pharma. And anyway, I aged out of the system at age 18, and I began a career in sales. I was a Kirby vacuum cleaner salesman. My first week, I made $1,000 commission. Second week, I made $2,000 commission. It was all commission based. One free vacation every 3 months for 5 years. Learned team building, development, daily goal building, weekly goal building, yearly goal building, 5-year plan. Anyway, I got out of that. I burned out, had some issues with how I felt I was being treated, wasn't being honored and respected. Felt like I was being manipulated. Felt like at one from my from savings that I put the power into someone's hands to help me. But I learned a lot of really, really good skills there, and I learned work ethic. I was young. My body was capable. I worked 12 to 16-hour days, depending, because we did a lot of driving, depending on what time we got back. 6, sometimes 7 days a week to win that free vacation every 3 months in order to hit our quota for that vacation. I didn't drink any alcohol for like the first, well, actually I did drink when I was 19, but I stopped drinking when I started there. I didn't drink any alcohol for 2 years. Then I started drinking alcohol on the trips. I think that and the work did something in my gut biome, and my energy levels were dipping. So then after the 4th year, I started utilizing caffeine. And then the caffeine just kind of, when you drink caffeine, it messes with your sleep. You don't repair. Anyway, I burned out. I went over to a coworker's house, started smoking weed, lost all my motivation. Quit, became emotional. The weed made me emotional, but the weed also helped me to transcend this idea of working and grinding. Although I was in a success mindset, my goal was to retire at age 30. I burned out around that age 26 to age 27. I started watching van life videos. I bought a van. I started traveling, hiking, being in nature. The main reason I wanted to work so hard in Kirby anyways, I just wanted to travel. I just want to travel and see the world, and I'm like, maybe I could just travel and see the world now in a van. You know, the world is beautiful. It's vast. It has many far-reaching cultures and ideas and belief systems, and these things all fascinated me from learning in public school about all the different parts of the world. So I thought that this would be amazing to travel outside of such a small, condensed paradigm of what the United States was. Only ever really traveled to a couple countries. Took a plane. Maybe I did travel more. Wait. Long-term travel was only a couple to other countries. We did Finland, Sweden, and Mexico. I drove down to Mexico. Anyway, worked a bunch of factory jobs, realized that I wasn't never going to make the amount of money that I made unless I was in some type of sales position. So anytime I felt disrespected, I would have a job lined up and I would quit where I felt that the job just wasn't going to respect me and value me for who I was. I realized that, okay, I can work here a week to a month. I can go on a hike. I can go visit a waterfall. I can take a week off, spend some time in nature. I can watch some YouTube. I can learn about the world, philosophy, different cultures. And that's what I did. And I traveled to a couple different states. Well, probably about 20 or 30 of them. Can't really pick them all out. Driven through. I wouldn't say that I stayed at all those, probably under 10. But anyway, COVID-19 hits. I was working a job that I had first got a job in Arizona, so I came. That was petitioning. I was working a petition job in California during COVID. Lockdowns happened. I started to date somebody and fell really deeply in love with this person. Romantically, I really felt in my heart center that this person was for me. and I stayed with them for about 2.5 years. And there was just a lot of stress from the lockdowns and everything that was going on in the world. And I was watching a lot of content media that was stressing me out about the future, and that really destroyed my relationship. Put me in a state of fight or flight. So, what else happened after that? Anyway, I ended up getting a factory job. After that factory injury, I was in a lot of pain. And pretty much the last 2 years I've been figuring out how to heal myself. Last 2 years also I've lived without any air conditioning. And the summers have been absolutely brutal. Had black mold in both of the vehicles. In the beginning of my life, I thought that I sought validation more towards like what I wore, the clothes that I wore, the status of my achievements. But as I went on, I realized that none of that stuff really matters. I mean, it does matter if it's like adding to the value of your life and who you are as a person, and the people around you really feel are in alignment with the type of goals that you want to see around you. But as I grew up and developed, things started to change in my life, the things that mattered. And the journey living the van life has been some of the hardest years of my existence. It's been some of the most interesting and exciting times of my existence as well. It's never felt stable. There's always been like an underlying anxiety that comes up based on money, where I'm gonna sleep for the night. And I realized that what you focus on grows. If you focus on the things you enjoy, you feel a lot better. I've dealt with I've had a lot of employers. I've dealt with a lot of employers that weren't honest. I've lost money. I've been taken advantage of. I've been retaliated against by different employers, commission jobs. And I've just got to get a taste of really just how dark life can get. But life is so beautiful, and if you focus on the shitty aspects of life and you're stuck in that focus, you miss all the beauty that is all around you, or all the potentials of the beauty that you can create in your life. And I've really had no true van life, creature comforts. My first Prius had air conditioning, so I was able to run the air conditioner that was in the car. And then I had another hybrid that I could do the same. That was efficient enough on gas so that I could keep the heat on when I needed to. And it was small enough where it utilized maybe like $3 worth of gas a night, which was nothing. I've just slowly gone up in size. I started in a Toyota Prius. I went up to a Chevy C-Max. That was a huge amount of space increase to me. Then I went to a Ford Escape. Then I went to a Ram 1500. And now I'm in a box truck, a 14-foot box truck. And I realized that I don't need anything much bigger than this. I need something a little bit bigger than this, but that's really all I need. Like, if I could get an 18 or 20 foot box truck and I could actually make it so that I can heat it easily in the winter and cool it easy in the summer. That's really all I need to be happy. And now, at this point in my life, I need to live in a van because the cost of living has gone up so much. I can't afford an apartment, and I can't work as much as I used to, and I'm not as clear mentally and physically, at least right now, with how I'm living in the heat and the environment that I'm in, without it not having the amenities that I needed to work a full-time job with the injuries that I got from the factory job that I worked. But I've also realized that the things that I wanted when I was younger, the things that were being promoted to me in the Kirby vacuum cleaner job, like the Rolex, the yachts, the fast cars, those things really, they're no interest to me anymore, and they haven't been for quite some time. Money is good, money is great. I would love to find a way to make more money because I would have more time freedom and less stress, and I could afford really good food. I could afford to furnish a smaller place to live in, a smaller vehicle that's really comfortable for me and another person, hopefully. It would be nice to have love again in my life. And maybe a couple toys. Like, I was thinking about getting one of those foil surfing boards. Like, there's not much more material possessions that I really want. I don't want to have a large house and have to have a bunch of material possessions, and the cost of that is so large. It's nothing in alignment with what I want in life. What I truly seek in life is community and freedom and time freedom, health, natural joy. Like, nobody needs a giant house. They can have it, no problem. But there should be the freedom to build what you want and how big you want it. We shouldn't be forced to live the way that the law wants us to live. Like, if you're not hurting anybody, it's the NAP, the non-aggression principle, right? If you're not aggressing towards anybody else. And I've been aggressed against by the system. I've been probably gotten over like $6,000 worth of tickets since I started this journey in the last 8 years. It's a lot. It's not a horrible amount, but compared to the cost of living that I would have been paying, that I could never afford in California. But it's the majority of the time I've been living in California through the van life. But we should be able to live simple, slow lives without the pressure of having to like buy $1 million house or a $500,000 house. It's like Joe Rogan said, if some people just like to hike and eat granola. Society has created so many laws that force expectations on us to be consumers in the consumer society that it doesn't feel like freedom at all when you really want to minimalize, live free on the road, or just build a small dwelling. Like, it forces you to work and give so much of your time, energy, when you could be using that time, energy to be in community, to raise your children, to actually have a healthy mind, body, and spirit. Like, this society demands so much from you, and it's been a hell. It's been a hell. A lot of days I feel like I'm in hell living in this society. Um, a lot has to do with my living situation. It's just not as good as it could be, but there's only a couple of things that I would really need to make this living space perfect for me. If it was just a little bit longer, but we have one life. I don't believe in an afterlife. I've studied all religions and philosophies, not all of them, but many. And this idea of heaven is somewhere you go after you die is just ridiculous. That's just to make you feel better about a life of suffering. That we don't have to be suffering as much as we are. Heaven and hell is a state of being. It's a state of mind, and also how you feel in your body. And when you're in community, you have resources that you can share. The other day I did a video about like, hey, we could be living in a mansion if 10 people pulled their money together. I was considering polyamory, and polyamory could be non-sexual too. I've been practicing celibate for 3 years. I had sex one time in 3 years. Personal choice also to do with personal attraction. I won't get into that, but I also haven't really been feeling that attractive myself. And I wasn't able to walk for a year. a lot of different variables there, but I think van life is one of the most amazing things that anybody could ever do. Living a life of adventure that gives you time freedom, but make sure that you have a way to heat and cool yourself, and you have a safety net before you start out, because I had started out in vehicles before the Prius that broke down, that left me stranded, ended up being in homeless shelters. Those places are very traumatic. They treat you like you're not even human in those places. It really fucked with my vibe, and that was at the beginning of the journey, and that and the heat, it all really was hard on my psyche and my body. I've been really roughing it for 8 years, just surviving. And it's been very, very difficult. There's been some really good moments, but it's hard for me to remember any of those moments anymore because of the pain that I'm currently in. And so I just try to focus on my day, and the great majority of my day, most days are doing healing breath work and such. But just learn from my mistakes. Don't get a factory job. They will leave you for dead. They will try to deny your claim. And if you can't make money in this society, and you're not living in a community that's volunteer based, you will suffer. But you can make it through if you're resourceful. And my story is a little bit different than most people that do the van life. But I've got some stressful things that I'm trying to deal with right now in my life. I hope to get past those, and I hope to just kind of settle in to a new rig that doesn't have mold growing in it, and that I can get some really good insulation and really make sure it's sealed and insulated before I start living in it. But there's so much for me to be grateful for, and taking care of yourself when living the van life is paramount. It is paramount that you have a place to stand up. You're not stuck in this small space. You have ventilation, and these are all things that I have not had. So, anyway, life is a beautiful adventure. It comes with many milestones and challenges, and I'm working on becoming a lovable, open-hearted man once again, like the inner child that I was for so long, and that's my default. But I have to realize that the world is very dark, and that you have to cultivate, like Jordan Peterson said, that monster, so that you can tap into it at any time. And but if you manifest correctly, and you're aware, and you take care of yourself, and you're not in a hot man all the time, and you're not dealing with not being nauseous and just like feeling like ugh. Always put good out into the universe, because that's what you want to come back to. And my personality has changed throughout the years, and I'm always recreating myself. And we should always be open-minded to new information and new experiences. We should always think things through. And anyway, I'm dehydrated. I ran out of water earlier today. I drank 1.5 gallons of water over in here. But it was a very, very hot day, and my body is sore after days of physical activity, and some days I'll just have to lay in bed to recover. I gotta go drive to a park right now, fill up 3 of these. I'm a little dizzy. May your days be filled with absolute joy, peace, bliss, eternal ecstasy, unconditional love, and absolute vitality. Always follow your dreams. Don't listen to the naysayers. Listen to the people that build you up, not the ones that try to tear down your ideals and your dreams. Create blessings in your lives and others. See ya. Oh yeah, subscribe to the channel if you like van life content, EUCs, and philosophy, and the occasional me bitching. I'm also trying to do gratitude. A lot of gratitude stuff. I gotta do my gratitudes today.